The government shutdown. I'm not laughing because I'm happy, y'all. The last time this shit happened, Frumpy was in office. That was 2018. He let this shit ride out for 35 days. That means 35 days of nobody getting paid. Oh, and for all you frozen people that's on the streets of Chicago trying to hunt people down, your money is now furloughed. You won't be getting paid either, right along with the damn National Guard in goddamn Portland. Y'all not getting paid. Essential workers, bye-bye. Federal workers, y'all will be working for free as well. I'm telling y'all right now, don't take y'all ass through a TSA because them bitches are going to be mad. And when Toupee Fiasco was asked about the government shutdown, he brought up trans. What do trans people have to do with us shutting down, y'all? But on a lighter note, the Trailer Park think tank is pissed off that Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl. I don't know a lick of his goddamn words, not one bit. But I'm about to go on Duolingo and study. Because one thing I do love is a party. And newsflash, you patriot GEDers, you can't deport Bad Bunny to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is part of the United States. Y'all make it so easy for us to clown y'all. Ain't no fucking country music going on this time. And the next time, it better be Shabuzi.
Hello everyone, you're welcome back, to Global Views with Josh. I hope you're doing well today. Because clearly, the United States government is not. Yes, folks, here we go again. The United States is staring down the barrel of yet another government shutdown. And who is at the center of the chaos? None other than the Donald J. Trump, the self-acclaimed or self-proclaimed dealmaker who seems to specialize in deals that leave the rest of America broke, stranded, and shaking their heads in disbelief. Please, guys, do well to subscribe, like the video, share the video, and tell me what your thoughts are on the comment section. Credit belongs to original creators. I'll just let the clips roll, and then we'll continue with the conversations and the commentaries.
A government shutdown is part of fuck around and find out. This is what people voted for. We need to let them have it. These are the consequences of their actions or inactions. We need to let them have it. We need to let them feel it. We keep fucking rescuing these people from their bad choices. We need to let them feel the pain. They're never going to learn if they don't feel it. We need to let them shut the government down. And then to say, see, we told you so. That should be our only message. We told you so. That's it.
All right, so we've got ourselves a government shutdown. Let's take score, all right, you voters. This is going to disproportionately affect red states. Why? Because they are more dependent on the government than the blue states are. Oh, but blue states have crime, blah, blah, blah. With any population center, you're going to have higher crime. Did you know that we're sending troops to Portland and Memphis has about the same amount of people in it, but 24 times the number of murders? Yeah. How come we're not sending? Oh, red state. That's why we're not sending troops, because this is political. This is only political. So don't listen to the bullshit. Basically, all the Democrats want is for people to keep their health care. I have seen lots of lower income, middle income people who are dependent on the marketplace. My daughter is dependent on the marketplace. And, her hours got cut. The economy's down. She lost her benefits because her hours got cut. That's how it goes for middle America. That's all the Democrats want, is for you to keep your health care because it's going to expire in December. That's all they want. So don't listen to all this bullshit about illegals. Illegals aren't eligible for this. Illegals aren't eligible for Medicaid or Medicare. They don't get it. But you don't understand that because it's, Orange Jesus that's talking to you, so you believe it. Anyway, this is what you voted for. Fuck around, find out. This is disproportionate to all you red voters. And if you don't hold them accountable, well, that's on you. But the rest of us, we know.
So in the second Trump term, again, we have a shutdown. And the talking point now is that illegals will get Obamacare. Yeah. Now, didn't Donald Trump say that he was getting all illegal aliens out of this country? Where are they going to sign up from? Alligator Alcatraz? The ICE detention center? Where exactly? So that's the latest talking point. All the illegals that he said that he's gotten out of the country are going to sign up for Obamacare. So did he really get all illegal aliens out or not? This is how the Republican Party operates. Propaganda. You cannot stand on television and tell the whole country that you've gotten rid of the illegal aliens, then turn around and say that you cannot fund health care for Americans because the illegal aliens are going to get it. Which one is it? These fucking Republicans, I'm telling you, I hope the MAGA, with all their sicknesses, suffer the most for this. Because healthcare doesn't know a political party, and sickness doesn't either.
Well, they fucking did it. They shut the government down, bro. They shut the government down. And what does that mean for my service members? Well, they didn't create a payout act. So until they resolve this issue, you're not getting paid. Service members will not be getting paid until this issue is resolved. How do you tell a soldier to come to work if they ain't getting paid? How do you motivate a soldier? They got bigger shit to worry about. They gotta figure out their bills. How you supposed to handle that and maneuver that? Yes, you get back pay whenever they fix this. But come on, bro. Come on. Navy Federal and USAA are offering or will be offering loans with 0% APR. So essentially, they're just going to give you your paycheck, and when you get your back pay, you pay them back. But this shit is just, I don't know, man.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them. Like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse.
Okay, who wants to tell Grandpa he has the House, the Senate, and the presidency? This has nothing to do with the Democrats. It's you, Grampy, that wants to shut the government down. So now, it's plain as day, you are holding the American people hostage. That is correct. It's you in your House and your Senate that are holding the American people hostage by threatening to take away their benefits. Tell me you don't care about the American people without telling me you don't care about the American people. Will someone tell Grandpa that the government is for the people and not for his 1% rich cronies? We, the people, pay into the government for them to give us the programs that we need. It's not a handout, people. We pay into it. Does anybody actually believe this shit? No. Seriously. Does anybody out there that's listening to this TikTok right now actually believe the words that are coming out of this mouth? Because I for sure don't believe an effing word of it. It's on you, dude. If the government shuts down, it's on you. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. And if you haven't thrown me a follow yet, guys, please do. Because I get petty as shit here. Have a day!
Republicans are blatantly lying to you about why this government shutdown is happening. And I'm telling you this as one of the people who is being seriously harmed by this shutdown. My husband is active duty military, and our household budget has officially been shot to by this shutdown. Now that he has to go to work every single day, but they don't have to pay him until all of this is over. Unlike, of course, Congress, who will keep receiving their paychecks. I'm having to make phone calls today to all of the companies that we owe money for things like utilities and housing to let them know that we don't have the money to give them until all of this is over, because what little we do have has to be conserved for groceries right now. And you know what? I'm willing to make that sacrifice on my family's behalf if it means that our neighbors don't lose their health insurance. What I'm not okay with is having to suffer through this while Republicans like Mike Johnson and JD Vance are lying about who is doing this to me, to my family, to families just like mine, because they are the ones doing it. This shutdown is happening because the Republican Party, which currently holds full control of the House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, and the White House, cannot corral enough members of their own party to pass a budget on their own. And so they need Democrats to vote in their favor. And Democrats have said they'll do that. The one and only thing they've asked for in return is for Republicans to help make sure that 20 million American citizens don't lose their health care at the end of this year. That's it. That's all they've asked for. That's all they want. That's all we want, is for you to not lose your health care. But Republicans have refused, because apparently making sure that you don't have to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars more a month for health insurance is just too much to ask of them as your elected leaders. You know, unlike the trillions of your taxpayer dollars that they happily gave to their own billionaire buddies in tax cuts a few months ago. But Republicans can't tell you that this shutdown is happening because they refuse to help your family out, so they lie to you instead. They scapegoat immigrants despite knowing that immigrants don't have all to do with this. Here's the truth. There is not a single solitary undocumented immigrant that receives even a single penny of ACA subsidies. Not one. In fact, undocumented immigrants are legally prohibited from receiving any subsidy at all. Republicans just think that you are so stupid that they can claim otherwise, and you just won't notice or bother looking it up yourself. Or they think that you will look it up, but you'll just be too much of a coward to push back on their lives. But every single one of the 20 million plus Americans that Republicans are refusing to help are working class and middle class American citizens. It's farmers and small business owners. It's single moms and families with young kids. And that is why Republicans don't give a about it, because none of those Americans make enough money for Republicans to care about them. And that is why every single bit of the blame for this shutdown lays at the feet of the guy in the White House and Republicans in control of Congress. Period.
What if Trump wanted the government shutdown all along? So here's a thought. Trump promised today he's going to fire thousands of additional federal workers in revenge for the government shutdown. Except Trump's already fired thousands of federal workers. That's what he wants. That's what he's been doing. That's his goal all along, is to fire as many federal workers as possible. So is it possible that this federal shutdown happened not in objection to Donald Trump, but because this is exactly what Donald Trump wanted? I mean, think about it. If he's getting what he wants out of the shutdown, if he claims it gives him extraordinary powers to fire all the federal workers and shut down tons of programs that he claims help Democrats, basically it means help anybody who's less than rich. Isn't that exactly what he wanted? So Trump today is now saying thousands of workers he's going to fire. He reiterated the threat that they're going after Democratic projects. We're going to see what that means. Could be entire agencies, could be God knows what. A couple of Republicans are actually speaking up, which is kind of amazing. Several Republicans in the Senate and the House, only several, have said, no, we don't want you really doing that, but good luck, because these guys never have the backbone to stand. But again, what if this is what Trump wanted all along?
I have no idea what's going on with the shutdown. These are the only two things you need to know. The Democrats refuse to sign a budget bill that will cause us to lose a ton of health care. They're not asking for more. They're just saying to the Republicans, hey, can we keep what we have? And if we lose it, a lot of people are going to pay double for their health care. And the Republicans refused to negotiate, so government got shut down. The second thing is that you're going to hear this lie that the Democrats want to give health care to the illegals. And I hate to tell you, but undocumented people can't get health care. You're literally just being lied to. That's all you need to know. Tell a friend.
It's day 2 of this government shutdown, and you're probably wondering, why can't these lawmakers just get the government back open? What is the actual issue? Well, as you know, there's a lot of blame going around and a lot of messy politics, but neither of those things are the facts. That's all spin. You know, I only focus on the facts, and the fact is, there are several real issues that Democrats and Republicans are fighting about, and those issues are what is preventing the government from opening back up. And in the end, the issues boil down to two things: healthcare and trust. So let me explain. As I've been reporting for years, under every single president, spending bills that keep the government open require a simple majority in the House, 60 votes in the Senate, and a signature of the president. If the party in power does not have the votes necessary amongst themselves to get those spending bills passed, it is the responsibility of the party in power to negotiate with the minority party. That means these spending bills can not only include priorities of the party in power. A negotiation means some of the things that the minority party wants have to be included too, right? Everyone has to compromise. So in this case, since Republicans control the House, Senate, and White House, and Republicans only have 53 senators, not 60, it's the responsibility of the Republicans to negotiate with the Democrats to pass a spending bill to get this government back open. But that's where the hang-up is. Since President Trump took office, Republicans have not really had to negotiate with Democrats to get any of their huge legislative priorities passed because one of two things has happened. One, Republicans were passing bills that did not require those 60 votes in the Senate, so they could use their simple majorities in both the House and the Senate to get even their most controversial priorities passed into law. Or two, on bills that did require 60 votes, Senate Democrats just agreed to what the Republicans wanted without any real negotiation at all. That's exactly what happened back in March when we were having this exact same government funding fight. Remember back then, Senator Chuck Schumer and several other Senate Democrats just caved and voted for the Republicans' continuing resolution that kept the government open. They did that without getting anything in return. No negotiation at all, because Schumer at the time said it was more important to keep the government open than to fight about those Democratic priorities. Well, when Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate did that, they got their asses handed to them by their base. Now, I tell you that story not to pick on Democrats, but because it's important context, so you can understand why Senator Schumer and Democrats this time are not just simply caving to the same Republican continuing resolution. They don't want the blowback from their base. So now they are digging in. They want something from Republicans in exchange for those 7 votes in the Senate. And that leads me to the real issues here. As I said, they boil down to healthcare and trust. Let's start with healthcare. Republicans want Democrats, as I said, to simply agree to a continuing resolution to temporarily keep the government open through November. But Democrats say, whoa, not so fast. If you Republicans want our 7 Democratic votes in the Senate to keep the government open through November, we want you Republicans to agree to a permanent extension of the Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies that help millions and millions of qualified middle-income Americans afford their health insurance. For the record, by law, immigrants who are in this country illegally are not legally allowed to qualify for ACA healthcare coverage, nor are they legally eligible for these particular subsidies that I'm talking about. Also, Democrats are asking for some of the billions of dollars in Medicaid cuts that were included in the big, beautiful bill to be restored. In this environment, that seems like a non-starter, but those ACA subsidies could be on the table. And when it comes to those, lots of you may be missing a huge piece of this story. As I warned in this video back in July, those enhanced ACA subsidies are expiring for everyone at the end of this year. And that means everyone's health insurance premiums and out-of-pocket costs are going to skyrocket in 2026. You're probably already starting to see that in your renewal notices. And without those subsidies, you are going to be paying anywhere from 15% all the way up to 75% more for your health insurance premiums. Oh, and if you have private health insurance through your employer, you are not immune from this either. It may not be as large of a price increase for you, but you are likely going to see costs go up for your health care too. Democrats want those ACA subsidies extended permanently. Republican leadership is saying, whoa, we're willing to negotiate with you Democrats on this particular healthcare subsidy, but holding the government hostage is not the right way to do this. Instead, the House Speaker and even the Vice President have said Democrats should hand over the 7 votes to reopen the government, and then they can have the healthcare subsidy negotiation. And that leads me to the other issue, which is trust. Democrats say they do not trust Republicans to actually have that negotiation on healthcare subsidies if they turn over those 7 votes. And even if the negotiation does happen and they do come to a deal and they do pass it into law to keep those ACA subsidies, they don't trust that the White House won't then just turn around and send over a rescissions package to cut the funding for the subsidy, which is exactly what happened to the funding for NPR and PBS and USAID just a few months ago. At this point, neither side is budging. As of today, Democrats are not changing their minds and Republicans are not going to start any negotiations until the government is reopened. So, we're stuck. And there's no telling how much longer this is going to last.
Shit is about to get very real. The government shut down, and today the president released this truth, I guess you call it, where he's openly saying, hey, I called the guy that wrote Project 2025. We're about to sit down, have a meeting. He's going to tell me the things he wants me to get rid of next. And what I think is coming next, amongst many things, but 2 things I think they're really going to try to take advantage of during this shutdown, is pretty much completely shutting down housing and urban development. I went to their website. They have this crazy propaganda on the front page, which is insane. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, Republicans control House, Senate, and the presidency. So this kind of messaging is just insane. I think once they shut down HUD, they're going to pretty much make being homeless completely illegal. So if you're homeless, you go to prison. You go to prison, you're a slave. A slave for who? Private prisons, which are traded on the U.S. Stock Exchange. Anyway, the other department I think they're going to go after, whatever's left of any kind of environmental protection agencies. They want all the guardrails done. That means fossil fuel regulations, carbon dioxide regulations. They want it all done. Wind. He wants wind gone, solar gone. And as we know, he doesn't want these things gone. Somebody that's paying him wants these things gone. People like the Heritage Foundation, the people that wrote Project 2025, which is literally a list of the things that they're trying to get done while they're manipulating this man in office. So this government shutdown, which he's blatantly saying, hey, I'm evil. And it's crazy that the Democrats are going to let me be evil. That's what he's saying in this truth or tweet or whatever this is. That's what he's saying. I'm going to do some evil stuff. Can you believe they're going to let me do it? It's almost like they want me to do evil stuff. So yeah, that's really interesting and wild that he's not even trying to hide the fact that he's doing evil shit. And they tell you a lie to your face and they expect you to believe it. And some of you believe it, and that's sad. But yeah, man, so I think that he's going to come for the EPA, whatever's left of it, and he's going to make being homeless illegal. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being like an alarmist. I really think that's what's going to happen. He's going to criminalize homeless people and then send the National Guard into these cities where there's a high density of homelessness. So places like San Francisco, which he named, places like Los Angeles, which he named, he's going to go and rally these people up and then make them slaves. So yeah, I'm sure there's like a more eloquent way to put that, but that's the long and short of what I think is going to happen. But I don't think it's going to do what Brian Kilmeade suggested, which is, kill meat them. So anyway, yeah, happy Thursday. Thursday. Let's drink up, man. 2025.
Breaking news, it's the blame game time. Because of the government shutdown, Republicans and Democrats are blaming each other. Republicans say Democrats are playing politics. They're doing this to act like they hard when they caused it. They don't love America. They can do a clean bill and we can talk about everything later like we've done in the past, blah, 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 blah. Democrats say no, enough is enough. It's getting too close. These insurance premiums are going crazy. Y'all don't want to fight for the American people. Y'all don't want to do the right thing. So we're going to do it for you. We're going to make sure y'all understand, Republicans, we ain't to be dealt with. We ain't to be played with. We are serious. Now, I only report the news, but everybody want to play the blame game. And you know who loses? The American people. I lose. You lose because we don't make enough money. So while Republicans and Democrats blame each other, government stays down, economy's bad, we ain't getting no money, we ain't getting no more jobs, we ain't living right, we ain't living good, groceries high, everything high. Follow your boy for more because I will let you know who really is at fault. Republicans, Democrats, me, you, holla. I'll keep you updated on this government shutdown, but it's making Capitol Hill and everybody in Congress mad, so they're blaming each other.
We got breaking news. The government has shut down, so what will this mean for your Social Security benefits? For those of you who are worrying, let's first go over what will not change because the government has shut down. As you can see, monthly Social Security payments will still go out on time, so you're still going to get your payments. In addition to this, if you receive disability, you will also be covered. However, if you're having issues with Social Security, or maybe you're a new applicant and you need to get something verified, or you need to update your records, for you, this shutdown is going to cause a huge issue because all those activities are temporarily being halted. Now, this could be a huge issue for those who are trying to update specifically their banking information because the government is switching from sending paper checks over to electronic deposits. So if you waited and you haven't updated your banking information yet, you might be in a very tough position. Additionally, the cost of living adjustment, the increase that Social Security recipients see every year, for now will be paused until the government opens back up. Last time this happened, the government took around 35 days to figure their stuff out. We'll see how long it takes this time. But for more news that makes you money, go over and give me a follow.
In every past shutdown, federal workers have been furloughed, so sent home without pay but brought back once the government reopens. It's brutal, but it's temporary. This time is different. The Trump-Vance White House isn't planning any of that. They're planning mass firings, permanent job cuts. That's not normal shutdown procedure. That's a purge. And remember, Republicans canceled the September 29 and 30s votes that could have kept the government funded. They chose shutdown over negotiation. So let's call this what it is. Holding millions of workers hostage to dismantle the federal government. That's not leadership to me. That's some kind of a political terrorism. And I don't think that this is how government officials should be behaving. Go find that compromise. Go talk. Go do your job. Okay?
There's a new poll out today from the Washington Post that is real bad news for Donald Trump and the Republicans. So we've started this government shutdown and Donald Trump and the Republicans are desperate to spin it a certain way, right? They want to blame Democrats. They're saying inane shit like this.
We want to give massive amounts of money, hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal aliens for their health care while Americans are struggling to pay their health care bills. That was their initial foray into this negotiation.
Yeah, so that's an outright lie. That's a complete fabrication. If J.D. Vance's lips are moving and they're not, honking on a sofa, then he's lying. We're hearing complete and utter nonsense about how the Democrats are trying to take your tax money and give healthcare to woke, furry, transgender, illegal aliens. They want to steal hundreds of billions of dollars of your tax money to do that. And I said in a video yesterday that it's really fucking insulting. You are insulting our intelligence, Republicans, if you expect us to believe this shit. And of course, Donald Trump is real pissed that this shutdown happened. So he's trying to spin it as this is exactly what I wanted. This is everything that I wanted. And now I'm going to make Democrats pay. I'm going to make Democrat programs pay. Donald Trump, who, remember, when he campaigned, said that he knew nothing about Project 2025. He was not connected with it in any way, shape, or form. I had Republicans all up and down in my comments saying Project 2025 is this fringe thing. Donald Trump doesn't support it. He's not going to do it. And then immediately, after he got elected, right, they renamed it to America First, whatever. And he put Russell Vought, the architect of Project 2025, in charge. And then now Donald Trump has said just yesterday that he was going to put Russell Vought in charge of more during the shutdown, gutting programs, trying to deny funding to blue states, which is batshit because do you know where the bulk of our tax base comes from? California, New York, Illinois, blue states. Red states could not operate without the tax base of blue states. But Donald Trump doesn't actually care about a functioning government. He doesn't actually care about the American people at all. Remember the other day when he said that he didn't give a shit about the political violence and the division in this country that he was fomenting in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death. He said he did not care if America was divided. And this is more evidence of that. He doesn't care about you. If you are a Trump voter in a blue state, he doesn't give a shit about you. All he cares about is the grift, is punishment, retribution. He does not like it when he doesn't get his way. He wants to inflict suffering. Anyway, so they're trying to frame this government shutdown as the Democrats' fault. And it's not working. It's not working. So there's this new poll out today from the Washington Post. And normally I don't touch the Washington Post. I don't like to give Jeff Bezos any of my clicks or my money. Thankfully, a bunch of my mutuals shared it all over Blue Sky, and then a number of other news networks have covered it as well. So here's the new poll. Who is responsible for the government shutdown? This morning, I think it was 1,000-something respondents to a Washington Post poll, right? A news source that typically leans very conservative. 47% of Americans blame Republicans, 30% blame Democrats, and 23%, these are folks who aren't sure yet. They can be persuaded. That's why the Democrats have been out messaging really hard, trying to correct the misinformation of the regime, the disinformation of the regime, and to tell the American people what's really happening.
The Republicans have pursued a strategy of hurting American families, not just with healthcare, but the president was just talking to the generals, bragging about the tariffs. He said it's raised trillions of dollars. It's actually raised only about 150 billion more than the old tariff, but that's because it acts as a sales tax on America. So he's driving up the cost of things for families. Healthcare is going up, electricity is growing up, groceries are going up, and what has happened with the attack on healthcare is you have then, therefore, 8 months of families being sicker and poor. That's the Trump agenda. We're saying we're going to fight for families. That's important. It's important to say this path is the wrong path for America.
I'm not somebody who worships politicians, but I'm going to say one more time, my Senator Jeff Merkley is a man of integrity. Jeff is just consistently on the right side of history. What would things look like right now if Jeff Merkley was in charge of the Senate Democrats instead of Chuck Schumer?
Why didn't you vote for this clean CR to keep the government open?
Well, there's nothing clean about it. This is one of the dirtiest tricks that is being pulled on the American people right now. Starting today, October 1st, and throughout the rest of the month, Americans across this country are going to start getting notifications that their insurance premiums are up to doubling. We're talking about...
Say that again.
Your monthly insurance premiums are going to double for millions of people across the country.
At a time when we are already paying, by far, the highest prices in the world for healthcare, at a time when people can't afford it right now. So what happens?
That means people getting bankrupt over chemotherapy, people going to the pharmacy and not being able to get their insulin. And frankly, it means a lot of Americans are going to be in danger. And Republicans want us to rubber stamp that. So what are we going to say to that, Bernie?
Well, I'll tell you, it's not only be in danger. Let's be clear. And doesn't make me happy to have to say this, but there have been studies out there that when you combine doubling premiums for the ACA and then throwing 15 million people off of Medicaid and the ACA, the result is, according to studies at Yale and University of Pennsylvania, 50,000 low-income, working-class Americans will die every single year. All right? If you don't have the money to go to a doctor and you're sick, you die. And that's what we're looking at. That's what this clean bill is about.
And so Republicans want us to rubber stamp that. And we're saying no. We need to stand up for the American people. We need to stand up for our healthcare system. And if they want our votes, they need to make sure that we're protecting every American and making sure that we can do what we can to continue to make healthcare accessible, affordable, as we work to make it a human right for all.
Yeah, Bernie's absolutely correct. There are multiple studies showing that as many as 50,000 Americans could die every single year if the Republicans and Donald Trump's horrible healthcare plans are implemented. Is that making America great again? 50,000 people a year dying needlessly. Wasn't it Republicans who, back when Barack Obama was trying to get the Affordable Care Act passed, were screaming about death panels? And now we live in a country with actual death panels where we are having fewer and fewer Americans have access to healthcare. For-profit corporations who run healthcare companies becoming more and more and more wealthy. Our healthcare is going to become even more unaffordable than it has been, and people are going to die because they can't afford care. People are going to go bankrupt at an even higher rate. Already, medical bills are the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States, and that is going to go up and up and up thanks to the Republicans. As all of that money, right? All of that money that funded Medicaid and ACA subsidies, all of that money is being transferred to the billionaires. They did all of this to make the richest people in this country even more obscenely rich. It's entirely needless. It doesn't have to happen. It is the biggest Medicaid cut in history. And Republicans supported it because Daddy Donald told him to. We're hearing Republicans try and spin this as the Democrats' fault. When the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House, they run the government. They have a stranglehold on the government. So if the government shuts down, is that not the fault of those in power with all of the control? And they've been insulting the intelligence of the American voter for the last couple of days. Now, Republicans didn't show up for 2 days in a row before the shutdown. Every Democrat was in Congress waiting to negotiate, wanting to work toward a resolution. Republicans didn't show up. They tried on purpose to make sure that the government would shut down. Republicans have to own this because it is their fault. And it's interesting to me, Donald Trump is trying to blame the Democrats now, but when we had a government shutdown when Barack Obama was president, do you know what Donald Trump said back then?
Fired. Who's going to bear the brunt of the responsibility if indeed there is a shutdown of our government?
Well, if you say who gets fired, it always has to be the top. I mean, problems start from the top, and they have to get solved from the top, and the president's the leader, and he's got to get everybody in a room, and he's got to lead. You know, the interesting thing is in 25 years and 50 years and 100 years from now, when the government is, you know, they talk about the government shutdown, they're going to be talking about the president of the United States. Who was the president at that time? They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate, who's running things in Washington. So I really think the pressure is on the president.
Well, that aged well, didn't it? That aged well, didn't it? And the lies that the Republicans are now trying to cram down our throats, the American people are not buying them. Here's another look at that Washington Post poll from this morning. Who do you think is mainly responsible for the federal government shutting down? 47% of Americans blame Donald Trump and the Republicans in Congress. This is more than previous polls had indicated. 30% blame Democrats. We know that this is about the quantity of the loyal MAGA base and Fox News watchers who are just hearing propaganda from the regime and are not getting an accurate picture of what's happening, which is why it's so important that you should talk to your family members. And then this 23% here too, we need to reach them with the facts. This is Trump's shutdown. This is the Republican shutdown. They're making our country actively worse. Everything they've done in 2025 has made our country worse and increased our suffering.
So why is this happening? A government shutdown occurs when Congress fails to pass enough funding to keep federal agencies running. Think of it like forgetting to pay your electric bill. You know, except instead of one household going dark, millions of Americans suddenly lose access to crucial services. Federal workers don't get paid. Social programs get frozen. Every citizen, everyday citizen, gets left out in the cold. Now, let's talk about Trump's role in all of this. Trump has encouraged his loyalists in Congress to dig in, to demand extreme cuts and political wins, even if it means ordinary Americans suffer. It's the same old MAGA playbook. Create chaos, blame someone else, and pretend it's all part of making America great again. Ironically, it feels a lot less like greatness and more like incompetence wrapped in a red tie. The effect? Oh, they are brutal. Military families could see delays in pay. National parks closed. Student loans, small businesses, small business loans, disaster reliefs put on pause. And let's not forget the hundreds of thousands of federal workers who will be forced to work without pay. Or worse, furloughed completely. Imagine telling your landlord, sorry, my rent will be late because the president wanted to play political chicken with the economy. See how far that excuse gets you. And here's the kicker. The people who get hurt the most are ordinary working Americans, not politicians, playing these dangerous games. Trump and his allies will still get their paychecks, their perks, and their media attention. Meanwhile, the rest of the country is left holding the bag. So, let's call this what it is. Reckless, impossible, irresponsible, and yes, downright embarrassing. For a man who promised to drain the swamp, Trump has done a remarkable job at, flooding it instead. If this is the idea of leadership, maybe someone should have, told him that being president isn't the same as running a reality TV show. Though the drama, the cliffhangers, and the cheap ranting stunts sure feel familiar, right? Now, tell me, what do you think, folks? Should the government be held, hostage by political games? Do you believe Trump and his allies are to blame for this shutdown mess? Or do you think there's enough blame to go around? And most importantly, how long do you think everyday Americans should keep paying the price for politicians' ego? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comment section. Do well to like, share the video, and please subscribe to this video. Credit belongs to original creators. I'll see you guys on my next video. Don't forget, this video are for educational purposes only. Thank you, guys.